Why is obesity a problem that we can't seem to solve? It's because most foods are actually bad, even though most people think most of the foods are healthy. People think, oh yeah, vegetables, oats, protein shakes, these are gonna make us healthy, these are healthy foods, but spoiler alert, they're actually making you fat. So in this video, I'm gonna be going over why most foods are bad, and I'm going to explain how you can understand why they are bad. So the first thing that you need to realize is that you are programmed to think that most foods are healthy. Most of you are programmed to think that vegetables are healthy, that nuts are healthy, that protein shakes are healthy, but all of these things are actually unhealthy, and you are programmed to think that they are healthy. You know why? Because the people that own the pharmaceutical companies are in partnership with the big people that are accompanied with big food corporations like Kellogg's, like General Mills, and they work together to make as much money as possible. And you know how they do that? They program you to think that medications are okay and that processed foods are okay. So basically they get you to think cereal's healthy, sweets are okay, cholesterol's bad, the sun's bad. They make you fat and healthy, and then you need to go buy prescription pills and vaccines and medication to heal the problems that you get from the bullshit diet. That's the first thing that you need to understand. Next, you have to understand that most foods are processed and that they're extremely addictive. There's a study showing with rats that sugar is more addictive than cocaine. Guys. So it's more addictive than cocaine. And then you wonder why it's so hard to quit your bullshit diet. It's so hard to move from processed foods to whole foods. It's so hard to resist that dessert because it's more addictive than cocaine. If you're a crackhead and there's fucking crack right in front of you and you're not even getting restrained, you're sitting there, of course you're gonna go smoke the crack. So you have to understand that eating processed food is a terrible addiction and that it is very addictive. So once you're programmed to believe that whole foods are bad and that processed foods are better, then you get hooked in the addiction, and then you know where they funnel you? Into the system. Into the system of big pharma. Kind of going back to how I explained the programming, they have you in the system where they get you fat and they give you pills to make you better. Get you fat and they get you pills to make you feel better. The thing is, this is the best business model because it has every customer in fucking America on a subscription where they have to go get their meds and take them forever. I know people that have been on Adderall for like 10 plus years, and Adderall is basically the same as meth. It's an amphetamine. It's basically as bad as meth, just a little bit of a dialed back version. But I know people who've been on that shit since they were kids. And you know how much money that's generated over the years? Do you know why COVID happened? COVID was made to create a bunch of vaccines to boost the economy. It's a made up thing to have these big corporations have to generate and build all of these vaccines that are paid for by taxpayer dollars, and they just generated a shit ton of money. So that is why they have you in the system to make money. And the next thing that you have to do after realizing that you're programmed by society, you realize that most foods are addictive, you realize that you're in the system and big corporations and the government that writes all the nutrition textbooks want you to be unhealthy, you have to build a new identity. If you want to get shredded and jacked, you have to act like someone who's shredded and jacked. You have to realize that you cannot be eating processed foods anymore. It is poisonous and extremely addictive. Alcohol is as bad as cocaine because if you're addicted to it, then you're gonna be drinking it forever, and it's as bad as doing cocaine for a short amount of time. Processed foods are terrible. You cannot be identifying or being a part of the processed big pharma cycle. Do you really want to be a part of the system where you're getting used by the government to, get fat and then buy pills and just be spending all your cash on that shit? Fuck no. You have to realize all of these things, and then you can be that person who eats whole foods only, who's against medication, who's against, eating processed food, and you treat it like poison, because that's what it's going to take if you want to get high tested shredded. And the second to last thing that you have to do is to rewire your dopamine. Basically, if you are eating processed foods and you're a fat ass, your dopamine is wired to processed foods, and it makes whole foods taste bad because there's no processed sugar in whole foods. Whole foods aren't addictive like processed foods are. So you have to realize that the processed foods and the bad lifestyle is your addiction, and it's activating your dopamine. But then once you starve it out and cut out the addiction, then you have to get your dopamine from fruits, raw honey, red meat, eggs, beef. These things will actually get you shredded and jacked and healthy because they're whole foods, they're not poisonous, they're not gonna make you out of shape. And then when you find the dopamine from getting jacked, losing weight, when you see that dopamine, that needs to be the new addiction. Replace the bad addictions with the new addictions and you will be golden. And then going on to the last step, the key to everything is making this a loop. Because if you take this advice and apply for 2 years, you get shredded and jacked, but you fall off again, and then you get fat again, you start drinking alcohol, you start eating bullshit, and you get addicted, there is no point in doing this. Click off the video. If you don't plan to be as healthy as possible for the rest of your life, there's no point in watching this fucking video, so get off. But the key is to make it a loop where you never escape. The loop of self-improvement. The loop of no processed food, no alcohol, no seed oils, whole foods only, gym. Then you get jacked. Then you feel better. Then you're more confident. And then you just keep on doing it and doing it and doing it until you just live to 100 plus years old and you're old, feeling great, looking great, and you were never consuming poison. You weren't addicted. You weren't on meds. You weren't in the system. You weren't programmed. And it's a win-win. And that's the thing. Once I started to get in the loop 3 years ago, I haven't been looking back. I haven't stopped eating clean. I don't do cheat meals. I don't fuck up. I don't drink. I've been strict on this shit for the past 3 years, and I've gone from 160 to 205 pounds shredded because of my perfect dieting, perfect training, perfect lifestyle. And I've learned along the way. Obviously, I didn't discover this shit all at once. But if you've fallen off with your fitness journey and you're a fat ass right now, or you've never been into fitness and you're a fat ass right now, and you want help getting shredded, getting jacked, getting high test, feel free to book a call with me for my one-on-one coaching so I can help get you right. I can help identify your problems, help build out a good workout and dieting plan to get you shredded, help cut out the bad habits so we can get you living long, feeling great, being great, and all great love. But guys, that's it for this video. A lot of people don't understand how to totally get off processed food, and this is really the way to do it. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Comment what you want to see next. Peace out.